What's up, y'all? I want to welcome y'all back to AD Cooks, and on the menu today is smothered pork chops. Easy, simple recipe, and what we have in front of us is a center cut of pork with the bone in, and off camera I seasoned these: paprika, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, seasoning salt. If you don't have seasoning salt, you can use regular salt. And the basis of this video is I want to show you all the method behind smothering a pork chop. So I really appreciate you all for tuning in. Alright guys, pork chops are in, and I'm doing 2 at a time. I floured off camera, just basic flour on these. And all we want to do is get these to brown pretty good for us. That's about it. We're not trying to cook them all the way like we're getting ready to eat them, because we're going to finish cooking them by smothering them. Alright guys, pork chops have been on for about maybe 7 to 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and pull these out. And if I was just cooking these, you know, just to eat on its own without any smothered gravy on them, then I'd probably cook them longer. But like I said, we're going to finish cooking them in our gravy, and we don't want to overcook them. Just want to get them brown. Going to add my 2 other pork chops. And let these cook for another 7 to 10 minutes. Alright guys, second batch of pork chops are done. Go ahead and pull these out. And what we want to do right now at this point is we want to find something to put our grease in. But we don't, these drippings that are at the bottom that are floating around in here, we want to keep that at the bottom, because that's going to be the start to our gravy. And we want to leave a little bit of grease in there. So find you something to dump your grease into, maybe a pot or something, till it cools off, and then later you can dump it back into your grease bottle that you bought the grease with. So find you something to put your grease in. Don't dump too much of it out, and leave those drippings at the bottom. Okay guys, this is what you want left at the bottom of your pan, and you want a little grease. So this is perfect. This is what I was saying. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to go in with about 2 tablespoons of flour. I'm going to add a little more because I cheated myself on one of them. And what we want to do is stir this up. The longer you let this fry, the darker of a flour you will have. And I'm going to add a little bit more grease to this, because I think I dumped out too much. That should be enough. As I was saying, the longer you let this flour sit in here, the darker your gravy is going to get. So it's just an optional thing. Like I say all the time in my videos, it's your food. You have to eat it. At this point, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in with some fresh onions. If you like bell peppers, you can add bell peppers into it as well. I'm not adding any. I don't like bell peppers with my smothered chicken or pork chop. We're gonna go in with a little bit of garlic, minced garlic. Alright, at this point, we're going to go in with some hot water. And now we're going to deglaze this pan. And if you wanted a darker gravy, I don't like a darker gravy in my pork chops, but if you wanted more of a darker gravy, you let this flour and let the flour cook longer than that so you can get it dark. Gonna go in with some more water. Because we're going to get flour off our battered pork chops as well. So that's going to create more of a starch to it as well. And right now at this point, the only thing that I'm going to go in with right now, if I can find it, going to go in with some black pepper. And I'm going to go in with a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. Maybe about half a teaspoon of it. And what we're going to do is bring this back to a boil. Alright guys, we have brought our gravy, or whatever you want to call this, our roux, back to a boil. What I'm going to do off camera, I tasted this and I need a little salt, but I don't want to add too much salt because our pork chops are salty as well. So we're going to go in with a little salt. We're also going to go in with some crushed red pepper flakes. Not many. I just love crushed pepper. Oh, that's a tongue twister. I just love crushed red pepper flakes. There we go. I like the color it gives, and I like my food to have a little hint of spiciness to it. We're also going to go in with some liquid smoke. About a half a teaspoon of it. And we're also going to turn this down some because it's cooking too much. At this point, we're gonna go in while this is hot, and we're gonna add our pork chops. And what we want to do at this point is turn your eye down because we want it to kind of slow cook. And we want to cover. Alright guys, pork chops have been on for about 10 to 12 minutes. Slow cooking. And it's looking good. Also at this point you want to taste things to see what the flavors in your pork chops are bringing out in your gravy. So you want to kind of taste your gravy to see what you need to add to it. Like I always say, it's your food. You have to eat this. So if you want more of a garlicky taste to it, add more garlic powder. Add more onion powder. Just don't overdo it. Don't over salt your food. What I'm gonna do probably is add a little bit more Worcestershire sauce to this because I don't feel like I need any more salt to it, but I need flavor and richness to it. So I'm gonna add a little Worcestershire sauce to it. But that's it. We're gonna put the top back on this and continue to let these slow cook and smother. Okay, pork chops have been on for an additional 20 minutes. We're gonna go in and check them, and I know they're done. Also, one thing you wanna do is you kinda wanna go in with a fork kinda to see if they're tender enough, and they are tender. Like, that's falling off. They're tender. They're ready to go. And another thing you want to do is make sure your gravy is thick enough to your liking. This is how I like mine. So that's how I'm going to keep mine. The longer you cook, the thicker your gravy will get. And probably the tougher your pork chop will get too as well. So just keep that in mind. But we're going to go ahead, cover, turn the eye off, and go ahead and plate these babies. Okay, let's go ahead and plate these smothered pork chops. And y'all talking about some goodness. This is it. Comfort food at its best. Alright guys, smothered pork chops have been plated, and we also went in and garnished our smothered pork chops with a little bit of parsley flakes on top. That's it y'all. Easy, simple recipe y'all. Doesn't take much. Just that smothering or creating your gravy portion can be a little difficult. But if you got any questions, leave me comments down in the comment section and I will answer it as soon as possible. I try to check all of my comments and give love to all of my comments, and I really appreciate you all for tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe, and peace.